How many of you thought you were coming to a sales conference today to learn a little bit about sales? Yes? But the first two speakers, they come up and they give us life lessons. I don't know about you guys. Jennifer was awesome, and Gerhardt's talk about the mindset and about growth, that was totally unexpected, at least what I expected from a conference. Can we show them our appreciation one more time? They were awesome. The message about the connection of the body and mind just spoke so much to me. I'll be outside here a little bit later if anybody wants to talk about that in a little bit more detail. So the lies we tell ourselves and why we continue to believe ourselves. So I want to start off, I guess there was a little bit of confusion about this session. I had a couple people come up to me already and say, hey, you're a comedian, right? I mean, Gerhardt hired you to come in. And no, actually, guys, I'm just a CEO. I'm a CEO of a small company in Cincinnati. But I've been to Selling Power and a couple of other, Sales 2.0 and a couple of other conferences like this before. And we're all professional. And most of us have our ties on and everything. And, sometimes so, and I'm not sure if that was supposed to be funny or I want to laugh or I want to clap. And I just want to say right now, it's perfectly okay to laugh. It's okay. I have a very dry and biting sense of humor. So if you thought that was supposed to be funny, it probably was. If not, laugh anyway. I'll feel better about it. So there, thanks. So I'd like to start off just to get we've been in here for a couple of hours. So everybody, would you do me a favor, just real quickly, just stand up. Don't worry, I'm not going to make you do anything other than that. I promise. Okay, fantastic, and you can sit back down. Just wanted to get your blood flowing just an ounce. So, the lies we tell ourselves and why we continue to believe us. By the way, maybe lies are a little bit too strong. What this is really going to be more about is maybe conventional wisdom. Changing the mindset. It was great because the two speakers prior to me talked about changing the mindset. And so I'm going to take you through some things that we've all heard dozens, if not hundreds of times before, and we'll talk about why that is good or not. Alakazam. Okay, a little bit about me. My name is Steve Osborne. I am the CEO of a company called Top Gun Sales Performance. We help people grow. We help companies such as yours grow the people that grow your revenue. I promise that is the last bit of shameless self-promotion that you'll get from me. The rest of this will actually be more about you. So a little bit about me. I am a serial entrepreneur, and by that I mean I've had multiple companies. Serial entrepreneur is actually a euphemism for slow learner. Because thanks. Okay, fantastic. She makes me feel so good about me. So, and that for over 30 years, I've actually carried a bag, and ironically, that is like the identical bag that I was carrying. Not that bag. It's a picture of it's a picture of a bag like the bag that I carried, right? But I've been in sales for a long, long time, long time. Also, so second, I am a politician, or was. I was a member of our city council. I come from Mason, Ohio, a lovely town called Mason, Ohio, and I spent a good deal of time in politics. I also like to play poker. So I love to play poker. Well, I would be considered I'm an amateur, but quasi-professional. I like to enter tournaments, and have won a couple of shekels. So between sales, politics, and poker, I've had quite a bit of experience and exposure to lying. And now, how many of you are in sales? So, wow, okay, so I better back that up, right? So I want to apologize. I didn't mean to say that, group all three of those things together as liars. I mean, because in poker, sometimes you just don't say anything at all. Sit there, so. like my slides, just sit there. There we go. So lie number one, or let's say universal truth that we've heard before. Sales is a numbers game. How many of you have heard that? Here, how many of you have said it? Absolutely. And on the previous slide, I wanted to talk to you about the caption that I had up top. It was, tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies by Fleetwood Mac. So I'm not going to sing that for you, and you are extremely happy about that. But the lies that we tell ourselves is the reason that we tell us and the reason that we believe them is because we want to. They're convenient. They serve our purpose. Or maybe the truth behind them means it maybe isn't as pleasant to look at, or maybe means a little bit more work. So sales is a numbers game. You know, if you make enough calls, you're bound to sell something. I've said those words. I've said them. And what I'm really trying to say is I'm trying to say to my sales rep, hey, sales rep, get out there and do something. But the truth of the matter is, we're really focused on the wrong number. Jennifer was just saying this a few moments ago. It's not the number of calls that you make. It's really the effectiveness of the calls you're on. So it's not the number of calls you make. It's the effectiveness of the calls you're on. Do we have any, and I'm sorry to use a couple of sports analogies, but I'm going to do it today. Baseball, right? You guys have at least seen it, heard of it. Anybody here from Boston? Bo Sox fans? Yep, the cameraman's in the back going, yeah. So if you know anything about baseball, right, it's not the number of times that you get up to the plate, it's the number of times that you get a hit when you get there. So we have always been told that activity is good. It's not necessarily the truth. Productive activity is good. Focused activity is good. Throughout what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about a concept called sales competency management. Sales competency management. And it means getting our salespeople incredibly effective and getting them in front of our customers. Here we go. Line number 2, CRM is magical. It's magical, isn't it? It's going to take care of all of our sales problems. It fixes all of it because it's wonderful. Now, my first company, just so you know, right, I'm not poking fun at anybody except for me. My first company was a CRM company, right? I made a lot of money doing it. I sent my kids through college doing it. So CRM absolutely has a purpose, but it's not necessarily magical. See, because CRM is often misguided. It's implemented by the wrong people. I'm an IT guy, so here we go. It's implemented by the wrong people, IT, sometimes, in the wrong way to extract information from you salespeople, right? And for the wrong reasons, as a reporting tool. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, and CRM is the on-ramp. Everybody who implements CRM, they do it for the right reason, to help their salespeople, and to make their company more profitable, and to service their customers better. Unfortunately, rarely does it get there. If you're thinking about CRM, or if you've had challenges with your CRM, I would ask you to adapt this mindset. Stop implementing CRM, and I know this will be tough. How many of you are in sales? How many of you are sales executives? How many of you can actually decide what you're doing with your CRM system? I'm just going to skip the next 2 slides then. CRM needs to be implemented for the productivity of the salespeople. For the productivity of the salespeople, not as a reporting engine and a data collection engine for the executive team. Trust me on this. If you serve the salespeople first, you can actually get all of that other stuff that you want. If you're meeting adoption resistance in your CRM system right now, it's because they see it as CRM. What's CRM stand for? Anyone? Client Relationship Management. That's what they tell you. That's what they want you to believe. But the truth is, it's chains that reduce margin. That's the way salespeople feel sometimes, right? This system does not help me sell. CRM should be a tool for the reps because great CRM supports the sales and learning process. Do we have any HRD or human capital development people in the room? Anyone? You're allowed to admit it. Okay. There are 3 different worlds that you have to master to get CRM correct. First is the world of sales. That's the world we come from, so that's easy. What's our sales process? What's our sales methodology? What is our key message? What are the common objections? How do we handle those issues? That's the easy part. Then we have to get that fixed or molded or fit into the world of information technology, and that's where we find CRM, right, in the world of information technology. That third world is not even represented here today, which is not surprising at all, which is the world of human resource development or the world of human capital development, meaning how we grow and develop our salespeople. Sales, competency, management is about growing them. And if you do your CRM correctly, as they're using the system, they will have tools that actually reinforce the training and the learning that you're trying to get them to do. When they're in the opportunity manager and entering in their opportunities, it delivers just-in-time information to them about resources, both people, resources, tools. And the reason I say that CRM is so often implemented the wrong way by the wrong people for the wrong reason is because we don't include the HRD people, the human capital development people, in it. So our learning is absent inside of the tool that they use every day. It's a unique concept. My first company was a CRM company. We were all about data collection and reporting. By the way, I've done over 100 CRM implementations, over 100. I have failed spectacularly in ways you cannot imagine. I know 47 ways of doing a bad CRM. I only know a few ways of doing it right. That's the model right there. And there's one more element to add to it, and that is coaching. Coaching is absolutely critical. We're going to talk more about coaching in just a few moments. But the first line sales manager, your first level sales manager, is the absolute fulcrum to your success, both in CRM and also in sales performance. Line number 3, it's not what you know, it's who you know. We need to hire this guy. He knows everybody. How many of you have heard hiring somebody for a Rolodex? So look at the people who just raised their hand. Ain't one of them younger than 40, right? Rolodex, except for this lovely young lady who's clearly in her 20s. So, again, Rolodex, right? The contact manager. Hiring people for their knowledge. By the way, not that relationships are bad. They're not. Relationships are great. Relationships are good. But when you're hiring salespeople, the first thing you should hire, or the first thing that you should evaluate, is their attributes versus their knowledge. Let's talk about what that looks like. Gerhardt had a pyramid. I had to have a pyramid. I didn't have this when he was speaking. I saw his. I said, screw it. I got out my computer. I threw this one in. I ran back to Jeff, gave him my 4th revision of the morning. So, Jeff's our wonderful production guy here, production manager. He's doing a fantastic job. So the attributes are actually the foundation of sales performance. You want to hire what people are, not what they know. Let's talk about this a little bit. Attributes are things such as integrity, honesty, empathy, characteristics that are built inside of you before you reach 20 years old. And at times they are extremely difficult to change, if not impossible. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to be a center in the NBA. Somebody said, good luck. That ain't going to happen. There are several things I'm missing, one of which is height, hand-eye coordination, speed, endurance. The list goes on. But height, you can't coach height. I will never be an NBA center. I won't. It just won't happen. So you hire attributes, because if someone doesn't have integrity, you can't bring them into your company, put them through a 2-day training session, and have them come out the other end with integrity. You can't. What's worse, you'll just teach them how to feign integrity, which is actually worse than not having integrity at all. Empathy is the same way. I'm not an overly empathetic person. My daughter is not very empathetic. We're at the dinner table one night. My wife says, you know, girls, I have 2 daughters, girls, I have some bad news. My girls are like, yes, Mom? Great Uncle Dick died. Somebody they had never met. Great Uncle Dick died. You know me, you hear me talk about Great Uncle Dick from Canada? Great Uncle Dick died. My oldest daughter literally said these words, okay? Death in the family, moving on. And began to talk about the next subject, at which point my wife wheeled around at me and goes, that's your fault. She's devoid of the empathy gene, and it's tough to build. So you hire attributes. And then the next is the easiest thing in the world to do, which is transfer knowledge. This is what most people think of as training, right? I'm going to train someone. We're going to transfer knowledge. You can do this through a book, through a workshop. Then above knowledge, you build skills. Skills are actionable knowledge. Actionable knowledge. It's not only knowing what to do, but the ability to do it. And then the last is you drive, or I'm going to replace that word, and I'm going to say coach proficiency. Coach proficiency. I love the fact that so many of you are taking pictures of the slides, and we've actually got the entire presentation in a PDF out on the site, so you can download them all, or if you see me later, I'll be happy to email them to you. I'll be happy to email you the PowerPoint if you'd like to use it separately. I think, as long as I just didn't violate my contract. Am I okay, Gerhard? All right, good. I want to be asked back. So line number 4, sales training is critical to success. You know, if I could just get a 2-hour training session, I could fix this whole mess. I want to tell you a story, and I'm going to tell you a story about me and my best friend, the man who taught me more about sales than anyone else. I am going to do his voice. He is truly my best friend. Almost 27 years later, we still go on vacation together. He is Japanese. He now lives back in Japan, so getting together for vacation is a hell of a trip. So his name is Yasui Nikito. He's a wonderful, wonderful individual. Have you guys ever seen Rush Hour? The movie Rush Hour? Jackie Chan, Chris Tucker. Okay, he's Jackie Chan, only he's not Chinese. He's Japanese. And I'm Chris Tucker, only I'm white. Right? But it's 2 guys from totally different worlds that get together. And my wife literally has 14 pictures of us where we have been drinking and are asleep in chairs. And she just goes through them. She's like, you can't believe this, you can't believe this. Anyway, so I was really struggling, and I was like, Yasu, I'm struggling. So I'm going to do Yasu's voice. And so please don't be offended. If he were sitting right here, I actually do this in front of him all the time. If he were sitting right here, actually, I'd have him get up and do it himself. But he said, Steve-san, you're no good salesperson. I'm like, well, great, Yasu, help me. I'm really struggling. I'm not making. So you won the problem. And here we go. I'm like, oh, good. He's going to enlighten me. One problem. He said, yes, you suck. Now, for a Japanese person, that's pretty cool, first of all, because that's just not their culture. And it's, oh, well, thanks. I mean, my numbers show me that. He goes, oh, to fix. I'm like, yeah, you suck less. Yasu, how do I suck less? And now I'm going to stop with his voice because this goes on for a while and you guys will get tired of that. I could do it in Bobcat Goldthwait if you'd rather. So Yasu went on to ask me, he said, did you go through the training? I said, yes, I absolutely did. Went through the training. He said, did you listen? And I said, yes, of course I listened. He said, did you do? Did you do? What do you mean? Did you sit in the workshop and listen, or did you do in the workshop? And I said, I listened. He said, no, you need to do. And he said, show me a value prop. And I tried. He said, no. Show me wax on the wax off. So that was from The Karate Kid, if you guys didn't get that. It was, these people saw the movie. It was, for them, it was very funny. And so he brought me to the next reality, which is, and folks, if you are sales executives and you drive your sales organization, please take this with you. You are not interested in training. You do not want training. Coming from a guy who has a company that trains, you do not want training. You want certification. You want certification. What's more important, having your people sit through 2 days of training, or at the end of those 2 days for your people to be able to execute those skills in the field? Clearly, the answer is the latter. So when you're working with your sales training people, your HRD people, whoever you're working with, whoever that is, right, focus on the certification, meaning make a them a do at the end and in the field. And in the field with their coach. Folks, not only are you training your sales people, but if you're not training your sales coaches, if you're not coaching your coaches to coach, you're wasting your money. I'll talk about that in just a little bit. Line number 5, on-the-job training is the most effective type of learning. That's real, by the way. I didn't Photoshop that. You never learn more than when you do. And the reality of the situation, come on, baby. Just one time for daddy. One more time. There we go. The reality of the situation is on-the-job training is not the most effective, but it's definitely the most expensive. Can you really afford to have a low-performing person going to bat in front of your customer? Talk about expensive. Field execution and field learning is a critical part of your certification, but it should absolutely not be the foundation. I have talked with people that say, hey, we just hire the good people and we throw them out in the field and the strong ones survive. Oh my God. Did you do that with your kids at the pool? I mean, my dad did with me, but I mean, I don't recommend it. Okay, I don't have any time to coach. I just don't have time to coach my team. This is one of those things that we say, and that's really not the thing. It's not that we don't have time. For many of us, we haven't been taught. We don't know how. We don't have the tools, and our CRM doesn't support it. Coaching is the absolute most critical element. It is the absolute most critical element of performance. So we always say if you have $1 to spend on training, I'd spend 75 cents of it training the coach and 50 cents training the salesperson. Some of you got it. Yeah, that's called an upsell. And the reason being is because your first line manager, they're with your people every day. They will either advance or they will erode your company's goals and what you're teaching. Think about that. You spend, let's say, $250,000 training your salespeople this year. If you don't take the time and instill those same principles and teach your coaches how to coach, they will erode that investment, or they will advance that investment. So in the world of sports, other than the Red Sox playing the Yankees this weekend, there was a pretty big, and other than the NBA playoffs, there was an event that happened that used to happen in the back smoke-filled room with a bunch of guys, and nobody ever heard about it. And now they've turned it into a 3-day extravaganza out of Chicago. Anyone? The NFL draft, right? Can anybody tell me how many NFL teams there are? That is correct, 32 including Cleveland. I come from Ohio. Has anyone asked Siri, where is sadness? Has anyone done that? I will ask you to do that right after this. Just walk out there and just say, Siri, where is sadness? So, right, that's where sadness is, right? And it's really sad, except for the fact that I'm from Cincinnati, so it's kind of funny. But anyway. So the NFL versus the SPL. So the NFL is the National Football League, and the SPL is the Sales Performance League. And here are the parallels. In the NFL, we do all that kind of stuff. We measure everybody and make them run the 40-yard dash. And in the SPL, the Sales Performance League, we evaluate and we hire. In the NFL, they send a player to practice. We send a player to train. Then we game plan, and we have a sales plan. On game day, it's all about execution and performance. We're talking about our sales call. Oops. And then the score is the final outcome, or quota attainment. We make the mistake of focusing on that last column day in and day out, with very little investment in any of those other things. Do you think that happens in the NFL? No. There's 32 teams in the NFL. How many coaches are there in the NFL? Yeah, not 32, 582. On average, 18 per. Now, wait a minute. Why are there so many coaches? These guys are making millions. They're professionals. They've done this all their lives. Because coaches are that important. By the way, no coach ever won a championship by pointing to the scoreboard or to the sales board and screaming, "Score more points." You need to sell more. Sell more. Of course you do. So in summary, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of tools. We give them away. Top Gun Sales Performance, we give them away about sales competency management, how to build your sales competency management. It's a disciplined approach. It's really not that much harder than probably what you're doing right now. It might be just a tad bit more organized. You're welcome to them. Certify your people. Don't just train them. Coaching, by the way, is significantly easier. If you coach your coaches how to coach and you provide them with the proper tools and resources, if you define what good looks like, put that in their hands, and then tell them how to do it, you'll get a whole lot more coaching. CRM, if done properly, is a great tool. Now, guys, I'm going to say the same thing that my sales manager said to me all those years ago. Go sell something. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.